hopes of republicanism, with the talk of independence from many of the realms, including, as you mentioned, within the British Isles. What will the Carolean era bring?
Hard to say. I mean, I'm speaking for myself, though I suspect others agree with me. On the one hand, it's wonderful that we have all this, pomp and ceremony and so on. It makes a change from the drudgery of normal politics, and who doesn't like a nice coronation and looking at some palaces and some beautiful costumes. On the other hand, I think many people think it's absolutely preposterous that we're almost in the year 2023, and this isn't some kind of Netflix movie that's of the kind that my 11-year-old daughter used to like, with, princes and princesses and castles. It's actually happening. There's actually, going to be, they're moving around from one castle to another. And in a time of economic hardship in Britain and elsewhere, and austerity, they're about to spend a fortune on a coronation. And to be honest, from what I can tell, I suspect that King Charles himself probably shares some of these sentiments. He's doing his duty, but he probably also sees that the whole thing is slightly preposterous at the same time. But speaking again for myself, even though by definition I am a Republican, I don't believe that democracy can go hand in hand with a hereditary head of state. I think the head of state, we have to find a better way to choose a head of state rather than just being born into it. On the other hand, when I look at how boring, quite frankly, some heads of state are. If I look at, I don't know, the head of the EU Commission, or no offense to the president of Germany, but he's quite dull and I can barely remember his name. When I think about this, I also think, well, is it such a bad thing that monarchy continues? As long as they, quote unquote, behave themselves, and I expect Charles as monarch will, in other words, he won't try to interfere too much politically, then I can see that he adds stability. He also adds a kind of substitute religion for many people, in the sense that it's almost like a religiosity to the kind of worship. I understand that some people are going to wait in line more than 24 hours, i.e. all day and all night, in London from tomorrow to see the Queen's body. This is the kind of thing people might do if a pope dies or some religious icon dies. So I can see how the monarchy brings, for great numbers of people, both in Britain and elsewhere, a sort of sense of something more meaningful than just, the drudgery of politics, or just watching TV or watching football or whatever most people do on a day-to-day basis. So I think republicanism will grow. I think if people intellectually think about it, they think, do we really want a hereditary head of state? But when they then think of the alternative, do we want an elected politician, like in many other countries, as both head of state and prime minister? Even a Republican such as myself starts to have second thoughts about it and doubts.
Well, you made very good and interesting arguments on both sides there.